Light snow continues to fall over downtown Denver. Afternoon temperatures in the mid-20s will go into the single digits as this broad area of low pressure moves out of Colorado over the next few hours. We're still seeing some moderate snow band activity across the eastern plains, but the snow will begin to end from north to south. All advisories for travel are over the southern half of the state. We'll continue to watch some of the heavier snowfall in the Front Range foothills between now and 8 o'clock. Skies will clear overnight, some areas of patchy fog, and then we're going to watch those numbers go into the single digits. Light additional accumulation, a trace to a half an inch for many areas that have already recorded 1 to 3 inches of snow. Cloudy and cold tonight with clearing skies late. Our low 10 with a wind chill of -1. Sunny and warmer tomorrow. How about that? Wednesday at 42. We will get above average on Thursday, mid-50s, and then close to 60 on Friday. A cool weekend, a little mountain snowstorm coming in, and then mid-50s with sunshine for Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Coloradans turned away from getting the vaccine. They were eligible, but didn't get it. The governor's not happy when we told him about that. The state's public health leaders have an estimate on when we can stop wearing masks and stop social distancing. Prepare to flip that calendar ahead quite a few pages. And if Coloradans aren't going to be able to go to Sundance this year, the festival will come to us. Come to a theater. Who's running out of ways to stay in business. That's next. Eligible Coloradans should be able to get an appointment and then get the vaccine without being turned away. I mean, that's pretty basic. It's been the state's fundamental promise for weeks. The trouble has always just been getting that appointment, right? Now, though, we have heard from a number of you and talked to a half dozen Coloradans, all with similar stories about being turned away because they did not happen to live in the same county as their vaccine provider. The governor told our Steve Steger today, any pharmacy that turns somebody away in a situation like that may lose access to the vaccine supply.
Jessica McCann thought she hit the jackpot when she found a vaccine appointment for her mom at a King Soopers in Colorado Springs, until the pharmacy called on Monday to confirm.
And once she correctly stated that she's a Denver County resident, they told her that unfortunately they would not be able to vaccinate her.
Jim Faircloth felt the same kind of luck 2 weeks ago with an appointment at a Denver Safeway.
Can't offer the vaccine unless you live in Denver County. And I tried to be charming at first, and that didn't work. And then I got snarky, and that worked even less well.
And the frustration is still fresh for Jade Mountain. She took her dad from Parker to a King Soopers in Golden just this afternoon.
They went as far as to ask him which arm he would like the vaccine in. And then they looked down at his address. They said that they would not administer vaccinations to residents that were not from Jefferson County.
That happened to Jade's dad just hours after the governor said this.
If you're 70 and up, you're eligible for the vaccine. You can get it anywhere.
He's been repeating that over and over, so he didn't take that news of pharmacies checking residency lightly.
Anybody that we find that is trying to deny a Coloradan the vaccine based on where they live, we will issue a very stern warning to that partner, and it could very well have consequences about our future partnership.
Safeway tells us Jim's case from 3 weeks ago was a technicality. They were still in a different phase of the vaccine process at that time. As for Jessica and Jade and the 3 other King Soopers customers who reached out to us, a spokeswoman told me it's corporate policy to accept everyone, and they are making sure all pharmacies across their system understand that.
Now we have to go back to square one. We have to try and find another place that's giving vaccines. We have to hope that we can get an appointment. And then now there's the fear that even if we do show up with an appointment, that we'll be turned away from another location.
Interestingly enough, Jade tells me that her dad told her that pharmacy called him back late this afternoon and said, hey, the governor changed the rules and you could come in. He unfortunately couldn't get there in time. So we asked the state, what should you do in situations like this if you're turned away? They say the best thing to do is to report it to the COVID concerns area on their website. Kyle, we will put a link to that in this story on 9news.com.
Well, folks are on notice now. I have no doubt that everybody in pharmacies is trying to do their best to abide by the rules, but at the same time, can't have that business going on, and hopefully the word gets out today that it's not cool. Thank you, Steve. Pardon me. 6.6% of Colorado's population has received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. That is 381,402 people. 1.5% of Coloradans have gotten 2 doses, just under 90,000 people. You ever have to really, really cough, but you're on TV, so instead you're just going to stifle it for the next 10 minutes? Funny story, happened to a friend. Can I interject a thought here? If you have successfully received your first dose of the vaccine, and then your vaccine provider tells you they're not sure they can get you a second dose, we need to be hearing about that as well. Please do reach out and let us know, because that's a big problem, because we've got to figure out at this point in the next couple of weeks whether Colorado's gamble to move the second shots out of storage and to move them into the first wave, hoping that the federal government's going to be able to backfill. We need to know if that's creating an issue where people are getting one shot and then left hanging for the second one. If you know about this happening, firsthand knowledge, next@9news.com is the email. Please do give us an update if you've received one dose and told you might not be getting a second. All right, cough free, we roll on. The slow rollout of the vaccine means that Coloradans are in for months more of current levels of social distancing and mask wearing. The state's public health leader said that today, although they did tentatively offer a date when things might change.
We're not yet at a place where we have herd immunity or population level protection. And so while individuals that are vaccinated are being protected, we really don't see the full effect or benefit of the vaccine for many months to come. If we're able to maintain our current level of transmission control, so social distancing, mask wearing for the next few months, at least through June 1st, that's really our best way to limit the impact of COVID-19 in the state, specifically, the impact of a variant as well.
Some clear guidance and a really nice cough break for me. After days of steady declines, our hospitalizations jumped up today. It's not really anything to concern ourselves with unless this becomes a sustained trend. There are 674 people currently in Colorado's hospitals for COVID-19. It's up 30 from yesterday, but we had 700 some hospitalizations this time last week. Our positivity rate came in above the weekly average for the second straight day. It was at 7.5%. We had made such great progress there, so we're going to watch that carefully to see if it continues. Our weekly average for tests coming back positive is at 5.1%. Cases did the weirdest thing yesterday. Only 727 new cases. That's like half what we have been seeing every day. But Chris Vanderveen, who digs into these numbers daily for us, says that could be the result of our lowest testing rate since September. Average out for the week, we're averaging 1,447 cases per day. Ooh, we are getting some feedback about Marshall Zellinger's story on Colorado Republicans leaving their party after the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. So Marshall returns tonight with even more perspective on party swapping in Colorado these days and the first-person perspectives of some of Colorado's former Republicans.
I can admit I made a mistake, especially with 4 million voter records to go through. Yesterday, I said 4,577 Republicans changed their party affiliation the week following the Capitol riot. I was wrong. It was 4,576. One of them is Charlie from Jefferson County.
I kept holding out hopes that perhaps the Republican Party would, in my opinion, come to its senses.
Charlie registered to be a Republican in Colorado on July 22nd, 1980. 40 years later, he changed to unaffiliated.
Does becoming unaffiliated mean you are no longer a Republican?
I'm certainly no longer a Republican of the current party. That means in the near term, I will probably have a difficult time ever checking a Republican box.
Kent from Aurora emailed me and said he switched from Republican to unaffiliated to be available for a new Trump party. Remember I told you 201 Republicans became Democrats? One of them is a woman in Weld County who is concerned about backlash from her conservative community. She told me by phone, as I watched the Capitol riot with tears in my eyes, I was embarrassed to be a Republican and turned to my 20-year-old daughter and asked her to change my voter affiliation right then and there. I no longer want the word Republican associated with my name at all.
I even received one email from a Democrat who said that they changed to unaffiliated the week following the attack on the Capitol. That voter told me that she is fearful of right-wing extremists going after Democrats. Kyle.
This is obviously highly personal stuff. Each person is going to have their own individual reasons, and there must have been somebody in the state of Colorado that right after the attempted coup at the Capitol was just like, That's it. I'm a Republican. I want a piece of that action. You find anybody who flipped from D to R?
It took me all day because of 4 million records, but I just finished crunching the numbers. 521 non-Republicans also changed their voter registration that week. 266 Democrats left the party. 17 of those became Republican. Nearly 200 unaffiliated voters chose a party. Most of them joined the Democrats. 43 joined the Republicans. All in all, almost 4,600 left the Republican Party, but they gained 62 that week from people jumping from a different party to Republicans.
I'm not good at math, but it seems like they lost a lot more people than they gained.
You're good at math, then.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, very good. I love how excited you get with numbers. It's fun. You found a very good job for yourself, sir. All right. Thank you, Marshall.
They're among the people who are going in and out of other people's houses all the time. You asked if Colorado was doing anything to prioritize vaccines for people who work in real estate. It's a good question. And it is Sundance for you and 9 of your friends. Film festival scattering across America with small gatherings, including at one spot here in Colorado. Just in time for that theater, too. That's next.
May I make a recommendation? It's an interesting read that made me smarter about the state. I was unaware that Hudson, Colorado is home to the largest tire dump in North America, Tire Mountain. Unaware until I read the piece that Michael Booth did for the Colorado Sun on how that enormous pile of tires was supposed to be gone years ago, yet it keeps growing. Sometimes parts of it catches fire, which is delightful. Colorado's attempted escape from Tire Mountain. We'll post a link to a really interesting article on the next Facebook page.
Tonight's next question comes to us from Sandy. She wants to know if realtors and real estate appraisers are considered essential workers, where they fall in the vaccine schedule. Sandy pointed out how they're often in and out of a lot of homes.
Sandy, the state health department told us today that real estate agents and appraisers are not given any kind of specific preference in the vaccine schedule. So it's phase 3 for them, the general public stage, unless there's somebody working in real estate who also has a high-risk condition. That would put them in phase 2. Or if there's somebody working in real estate who's 70 or older, that puts them in phase 1. We will continue to keep working through your vaccine questions here, but wanted to remind you that yesterday the state announced a new vaccine question hotline. I hear the hold times are pretty spicy, but hopefully that will improve with time. Number's 877-268-2926. Hey, I'm not sure last time we had meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen getting poetic about the weather on back-to-back days, but the poor guy just not seen a lot of snow this season. It's been so dry. Then the Eastern Plains got it yesterday. Corey was out there. Denver today. Corey was downtown. He is ready to inaugurate a real taste of winter around here.
Corey Reppenhagen is on the weather beat.
City streets are cold. Denver just looks right like this. I feel there is hope.
That was Corey Reppenhagen on the weather beat.
A not-for-profit theater in Denver has been scrapping and clawing to stay in business this year. Then Sundance called.
We've tried to create a schedule of films that really speaks to our community.
A piece of the famous film festival, right in our backyard. Next.
Sundance Film Festival is spinning out of Utah this year, dropping independent films into theaters across the country, including a theater in Denver that has been closed for most of last year. Here's Byron Reed with that.
It's been a great opportunity for us.
Matthew Campbell is feeling optimistic these days about people coming back to theaters to see movies.
To have a little taste of going back out and doing that and seeing some fun, exciting films the day that they premiere.
He's the artistic director for Denver Film, a local nonprofit that runs and owns the C Film Center on Colfax.
Usually it'd be open 7 days a week, showing theatrical titles in addition to a lot of specialty programming and film festivals that we do.
Like most independent movie venues across the country, the Film Center was forced to close their doors due to the pandemic.
We closed back in the end of March, beginning of April.
But recently, the Film Center received good news when the Sundance Film Festival made an announcement. The Utah-based IndieFest will be showing their films virtually by producing satellite screenings at 20 screen houses across the country.
We've tried to create a schedule of films that really speaks to our community and to create a program specific to the Denver audience.
The C Film Center is the only theater in the state to host the event, and moviegoers will be socially distanced.
What we're selling is basically a private rental or a pod screening for you and 9 of your closest friends, family.
The screenings will run for 7 days, and groups will be required to rent out the entire theater for $600.
We have 12 films in the program. We'll start screening this coming Friday through the following Tuesday.
The goal is to help independent theaters across the country feel hopeful.
We get all the proceeds of the tickets that we sell.
And keep the Sundance tradition alive on the big screen.
This just to get the word out, to remind people like, hey, you know, theaters are still relevant. We're still here.
For next.
So hopefully it'll just get people excited to return to the theater again.
I'm Byron Reed.
Been a long time for a lot of folks. So in addition to renting out the theaters for private viewing, the Film Center's also gotten by with a PPP loan last year and some grants from the new stimulus package. Snow flies and Coloradans want to ski. They want to ski fast. A lot of us were trapped on flat land, though, on a work day today. It was less of a problem for some of you than we expected. That plus your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is Coloradans out in their natural habitat. Like the skier pulled behind a golf cart. Jeff spotted him at Highland Golf Course in Evergreen. And then there was the skier who was being pulled behind a motorbike in Pagosa Springs. Shane spotted this for us while he was out shoveling snow. I believe I am supposed to say something like, don't try this at home, but they said the same thing about this program. And now we do next from my basement. Travis Todd writes in tonight, hey Kyle, thanks for your opinion. Can I get the news? Travis, Next has featured both the news and analysis and commentary for all 4 years that we've been on the air. The great news for you is that it's the only 30 minutes of television like it in Denver. So watching anything else would literally be better. You would enjoy anything, I'm confident. Any other 9 News show, anything on any other channel, you'll love it. Woman wrote in tonight saying, my daughter is amused that you said spicy. She says, isn't he an old guy? I'm younger than the sweater makes me look. I guess I'm getting older. Nick's not happy we changed the theme music. Says, I like the do-do-do-da-da, don't like the do-da, do-do-do. Let that be a lesson that the music could get worse. See you next time.